We're
Hello?
non-binary. Get used to it. So
I don't think
we're
Okay.
not. It's fine. Shut up. I'm still in that weird era where if someone says non-binary, I just think of like computer speak. There's like a binary code and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, I don't see numbers, and I'm just like, what?
You're a terrible person.
If that's why I'm a terrible person, then I think we're gonna be okay. So,
Yep.
because I've said and done a lot of other shit that is regrettable in my life.
It's
So,
okay.
How's it going, gentlemen?
It's going. How are you?
Good.
I'm all right. I'm tired. I'm drinking, so if that makes you feel any better. So,
It's just a beer.
I'm a
Just
lightweight.
another hot
That is
Sunday
true.
night.
You are a lightweight.
You've seen me. Granted, I was drinking rum at 10 o'clock in the morning.
And you were drunk by 10:30.
It's your own
Yeah.
stupid fault.
I still remember with Scotty. Scotty was like, I'll take a swig. This was before pandemic. So he was like, let me have a
Yeah.
swig of that. And he just took a swig. He goes, you didn't tell me it was all rum.
Yeah, because we're standing waiting for the Windjammers tournament, waiting for our names at 10 a.m. And I was like, "Oh, let me smell it. Let me swig of that." And that it looked like water, and I was just like, "Ooh."
Well, it was in a water
Good
bottle.
morning, America. Yeah.
Well, I was like,
I thought you had dark rum. Not light rum.
It was dark rum. But he thought I mixed it with something, like maybe Dr. Pepper or something like that.
Who the fuck
maybe
mixes
anything.
water?
Maybe you mixed it.
Okay,
And,
okay, that's valid.
Chris, non-alcoholics mix drinks sometimes. So
Okay, got
I'm to the point now where I'm just like, get all that dilution out of there. Just give me the fucking thing. So, we got some people in the chat. We got a story for the icebreaker that just 2 minutes ago, Chris went, "What the fuck is this?" Oh, okay, that's what this is. So this is going to be great. I also didn't read this article, so I'm going to read the little snippets I put in the docket. So, but I know basically the gist of it. Oh my God, cameras look great. I fucking love me. Anyway, for people that the Playdate makes a software development kit free and is available now. So for people that don't know what the fuck the Playdate is, people that are watching the podcast can see a picture of it right now. But the Playdate is a handheld gaming device developed by Panic Inc. The device offers a unique handheld gaming experience by utilizing a rotating crank as part of the controls. In addition, new games will be added at a random on a weekly basis. I'm still not 100% on that. Like just random games, but whatever.
I don't think they're going to be so.
Oh God, the raid link.
Lose progress. What?
Sorry, I forgot to turn off the raid link in the chat. So,
it's fine.
Anyway, I'll fix it in a minute. But anyway, Panic goes on to explain that while they built the Playdate dev kit for people already comfortable with coding, they also strive to make it as user-friendly as possible. The development kit allows users to code in 2 different languages, Lua, a higher-level scripting language, and C for improved performance. Oh, excuse me. In addition, the software development kit features helpful functions for font handling, drawing, animations, sprites, and more. Naturally, as the Playdate utilizes a crank as a key control element, the development kit also features tools to assist in that area as well. I just imagine WarioWare on this thing. Like, that's exactly what I imagine. It's like, crank it! And you're just like, you gotta, like, crank it real quick. It's like a virtual
It feels like it's
Bop
that
It.
sort of bullshit.
A little bit.
Yeah. It's also, for audio listeners, this is black and white. The screen is black and white.
The screen is, yes. It's
just a reminder.
It very much looks like if you took a Game Boy Pocket, basically cut off a little bit of the bottom, stretched it to the sides, and then put a crank on the side. Is basically what it looks like. Yeah, it's a complete square. Another great feature about the development kit is that the Playdate simulator, for your computer. The app allows you to run and test games directly from your computer without the need for the actual hardware. The tool allows you to simulate the crank, log errors, and check memory usage. It's usable for Mac, Windows, and Linux operating system. We still don't have a release date on the Playdate, but I believe
it's like that. Yeah, Jesus.
I mean, it's still this is a development kit that this story is talking about, and You can check it out over on you can get the development kit over on their official website. And whenever, I don't even remember when we covered this. I know we covered it, but I cannot remember when.
Yeah, the reason I was confused is because I've seen journalists and stuff playing with it already and showing it off. So
really,
oh, okay.
mm-hmm.
Chris is going to be reaching out to some people then.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I'm not that enthusiastic. I'm just surprised. Ooh, tiny. Sometimes you hear about tech and things that are planned, especially with like within the retro space or the like the indie community. Yeah. And it'll pop up and you'll be like, oh, that's interesting. It'll never see gold. It'll never launch. And then all of a sudden I'm surprised it had 2 updates. I'm surprised that it had a delay. Like there was enough interest for them to have a delay in the batteries and get that shit pushed to early 2022. Because I remember that being one of the things that was holding this device back. I'm really curious on the number of people who are actually like buying into this. That's really like, if you like WarioWare
niche.
Yeah, niche. If you like WarioWare and shit like that, then sure. I guess this is for you.
At first we thought that crank might be a power source. So that was the first thing I thought of. I thought of like a I don't know, like a emergency lamp that you can buy for when power goes out. You can just crank it, or emergency radio and stuff like that. I remember my dad had one of those because we live down in Tornado Alley. So you kind of got to have one of those, especially if you don't have a basement or a storm cellar. So,
well, I thought that's what it was too, because it's very similar to the laptops that a lot of these charity organizations give to children in Africa, where it has the hand crank to keep the power on. So I was just curious, maybe it's like one of those fucking things.
Not gonna lie, I'd totally be happy to have one of those. Like if I had a laptop that just
fighting game on this.
Yeah, we forgot about the dock too that it connects to. You said there was a fighting game? I didn't see the fighting game.
Yeah, it's at the very end. It looked like there was a fighting game on it.
Oh, I missed it. This is a thing that I would not buy, but if I was at like PAX or something and I saw it at a booth, I'd be like, oh, I do want to check this out. Let me see how this feels.
Yeah, I would buy this for less than $150.
I don't think it's less than that. I don't remember.
Granted, this is a video that we're watching, but the gameplay looks smooth. And I like too, like when they put it on the dock, it just like it was a magnet. It just went spoop and like fit perfectly on it. So
the dock is a cube.
I am curious of the price, because if this thing is
$179,
if this is going for anything higher than that, I don't know it. I don't think it would be very successful, I guess. But it's interesting. And again, like I always say, I've never seen something like this before. So it's got my interest. It's one of the reasons that I think I fell in love with Night Trap and almost every other game Scotty's recommended to me. So
this is right along the lines of the Game Wave for me, or just stupid ass shit that I
would say finding. The Game Wave's a lot stupider than this.
Oh like, no, 100%. 100%. You are absolutely right. This is like my mindset is this is only $179, so I am in the middle of adding this to my cart.
Well, if this helps, it says who made it. Panic, who makes Mac software and also publishes video games like Firewatch, Untitled Goose Game, and Now or Play with Your Food. I don't know what that last one is. Now or Nor.
The middle one's the only one you got to worry about. So.
Yeah, well, Firewatch I've heard a lot of good stuff about, but
yeah. I wish I knew more about coding, so I understood more of this. Because if you go to the website, a lot of it is pretty. It's like a language that I might not know.
Yeah.
It's got a little
I'm just happy that someone out there is doing something innovative who's not Nintendo for a change. Because nothing's really happening otherwise in the gaming atmosphere.
So I was wondering, this says requires Wi-Fi, requires USB power source, no problem. It doesn't say anything about the dock.
Yeah, there's not anything on the site that says, hey, you can buy the dock here.
Maybe it's still in development.
Maybe. I don't know. I bought one, so when it comes, I'll let you guys know.
I knew he got super quiet, and I was like, he's probably spending money. So.
He's got there better be a fishing game on this. There has to be.
Yeah,
right?
that would be perfect. Yeah,
there better be.
Also, Chris, you just every time you buy these things, you just ensure that you have to review it. Like,
it keeps me employed, man.
I guess. I guess so. But
Powell, if you're listening to this, I got you, baby.
Powell doesn't know how to turn on podcasts. This is gonna be the one where he's like, "I heard what you fucking said." Whenever we have our meeting this week.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine.
He's like, "Oh, I haven't hung out. I haven't figured out what they were doing for a while. Let's go check it out." Oh shit. But so yeah, if you're interested in that, go to what was it? I think it's just playdate.com. Play.date. Yeah, play.date. And you can pre-order it at shop. Yeah, it's weird. They don't have like a
crank.party.
Crank that part. Yo, what if Soulja Boy got in on this? Like,
don't know.
I'd return my pre-order.
I want to say that the Soulja, whatever his fucking handheld one came out, kind of looked a little bit like this, without the crank.
What has it not looked like at this point that he has produced or whatever?
What is it?
He's done a lot of bullshit. So like he had the one home console, and then he tried coming out with a portable that kind of looked like a Game Boy.
Handheld console.
The crank
I don't
station.
Know. Is it called the crank station? Was
no,
that legit it?
No, because
that's
he's
the
not,
episode title.
Put that in the fucking crank station's pretty good.
Okay, no, it looks like the analog fucking shit.
Yeah, it looks like the analog mini. But there were many times where, like, he should have just called this the Soulja Boy, because it's like a Game Boy. So
don't give him ideas.
That was probably the title of many articles around it.
Have you bought Soulja Boy's new The Soulja Boy? Like, I don't know how. I don't want to give Soulja Boy anywhere. He had that one song that he made a bunch of fucking money off of, and then there you go. So
play date.
Crank it.
Crank
that play date. All right.
I hate you.
Play date. We would like to crank. That's
Playdate, if you're listening to this, get us on your marketing team. We will get you traffic. I'm not going to say sales. I'll say traffic. So
yeah.
All right, that's all I got. That was a quick little opener. We didn't have an opener to the opener, so it's a little bit quicker this week. So
no pop-up date this week. Sorry, guys.
Sorry about that, guys. Apologize.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no. Confirming the crank. Is it a gimmick? No. Does it charge the Playdate's battery? No. Is it really fun? Yes, and yes. It's an analog controller that flips out from the side, allowing you to precisely dial the action. Okay.
There was one in the video that it was showing that it was moving the crank, and then it was like making a character walk, and then when they cranked it backwards, the character was walking backwards, and then it fell down some stairs. So
yeah, it looked like Vib Ribbon or something.
I can't wait to have
we should put that on the list
the second I get this.
I can't wait to buy it off of you.
Hey, it's no Game Gear Micros, so you're probably fine.
I had a Game Gear Micro, and my hands still hurt from that thing.
Really?
Not the Game Gear Micro. I had the what was it? The Game Boy Advance Micro. That's what I had.
Oh, very different.
That's really not that bad. I have like one or two of those. Have
you played it as an adult now?
I mean, I've got big fat hands, but I mean, like, if I've
got little hands for I've been told as a man I have little hands, and I'm just like, thanks. But even me, playing that, and then so when you played Monster Hunter on the Vita, well, I think it was PSP more. You had to use like a weird claw technique, to be able to hit all the buttons correctly. And I was just like, after 2 hours, I was like, I have to stop. Like, my hands hurt too much. So.
Yep. You had to do that for the third birthday too, I think. But yeah.
I need to look into it.
All right, welcome to your PSP show, folks.
Yeah.
Sony's got a new announcement coming out soon. Maybe it's the Vita too. So
sure.
I highly doubt that. That'll never fucking happen.
Yeah. One more idea to forget in a year and a half.
Yep.
Scotty, I went down the same route you did with the Dreamcast shells, and I started finding PSP, and I think it was PSP shells because the joystick on my PSP has been busted for a long time. So I'm like, oh, I probably need to fix this. And then I was like, oh, this clear case looks awesome. And I was like, I can't go down this route again.
Oh, there's tons. There's plenty of. If you go to Japan, it's like buying bubble gum. It's the PSP shells rival Kit Kat flavors over there.
It really be like that?
There's a lot.
Chris is
the handheld, handheld stuff is so much bigger over in Japan because nobody wants to be home in their sardine-sized apartment. So,
it's true.
That's true. Definitely.
Anyway, I just remember always seeing all those PSPs because I really wanted a different color of mine.
I will say, Chris you've been a lot more active in the Discord with getting like groups. Like you're like, hey, I'm in the voice chat. Jump in here, and it's always been. You've been playing a lot of Japanese Legend of Dragoon. And I haven't been able to jump in those voice chats, but I'll get a message being like, hey, have I told you that Japanese Legend of Dragoon is bullshit? And I'm like, yes. If you look up 2 messages, you just said that. So
it's the frustration, man. It's the frustration.
Is it better?
Is it different?
How do I put this? Yes and no. So the localization team did a really, really good job with the Legend of Dragoon and porting it over to English. The story behind its localization was that when the game was released in 1999 to Japanese markets, everyone kind of like looked at it, played it, and said, "What the fuck?" Because apparently the game was super fucking hard. And based on that feedback that they got back, they released I guess you could say a gold version for international markets. And there's actually 2 of them. There's one for the US, and then there's an even easier one for the PAL region.
We played I've played the Jap or the American or the US one, and I'm like, it can be hard at parts, but it's nothing like too crazy.
I think the difference is that when you approach the US version, there is obvious skill checks where it's just like, I go into a fight and I obviously don't know the mechanic. For example, Lennis. In Disc 2, when you're fighting Lennis for the first time, the player is not going to know that, hey, maybe don't go into your Dragoon form. Maybe don't be throwing magic items at her, because once you start throwing magic items at her or you go into your Dragoon form, she kind of goes into like this berserk phase where she takes 4 turns and she's just one magic spell after another.
You might game over twice in a Let's Play. So
right. It's kind of annoying. Like the last boss in Disc 1 is not necessarily a skill check, but it is a culmination of everything that you were working on throughout the entire disc. So when you go to do that encounter, it's relatively difficult, right?
Right.
The Japanese version is just straight up fuck you the entire time. I don't know if there's been a boss fight where I didn't walk out of it thinking, I almost died. I almost gamed over.
Even like
game overed.
Like Kongo for the first time?
Bro, Kongo, I had to look back at our old footage to see the difference. So if you drop combo against Kongo, I don't remember if I dropped combo. I think I did against Kongo. I think did that a few times. When you get the counter hit or his suplex, whatever the fuck that he does to you, he just straight up banes you on your back and then kicks you away.
He basically, it's the game telling you, hey, you messed up and now you're being punished for it.
Right. That usually in the US version did 24 damage. In the Japanese version, it does almost twice as much.
Jesus.
The move where Kongo runs up, grabs both Lavitz and Dart at the same time, smashes them together, and then like pretty much like backhands them into the wall. The US version, it did 16 damage and 24 damage respectively. In the Japanese version, it's doing almost 50 points of damage. It's it is bullshit. I'm
misremembering, but weren't Japanese games typically way more difficult back in the day, and that's like why we didn't get Super Mario 2.
Well, in the NES era, but I didn't think in the PS1 era.
I would go as far to say is that's bullshit as well. I'm not saying
I don't know,
but
I just remember
like for example, Mega Man 2, the US version is significantly harder than the Japanese version.
I think you need to fact check yourself.
Go look it up. The Japanese version had a hard mode for Mega Man 2. All we got was the hard mode.
I was gonna say, back in my day, we didn't have difficulty levels.
No, there's difficulty levels for Mega Man 2. But for this game, they heard the feedback of just like, hey, this is ridiculous. And so they reduced the damage, the overall damage from all the enemies universally 20 to 30%. In addition to that, they increased the damage that magic attacks would do by 10 to 20% as well. So your magic attacks are underpowered. The enemy hits you like a fucking truck. And then there's like weird nuances. Like, so in the Heroes tournament in Disc 1, where you're in I forget what it was, but it's like the big caravan city. And it's where Loan, thank you. And like you go to fight each of the enemies one after another. When you get to the Lloyd fight, in the US version, if you get killed by Lloyd, it just continues the story. It's like you're supposed to, but there's two checks. It's either you can get killed by regular combat, or you get killed when Lloyd uses his quote unquote final attack. In the Japanese version, if you don't get hit by that final attack and he just outright kills you, the game's over.
Also,
it just says just like, no, you're done.
You had it backwards. Japanese. So from Mega Man 2, the Japanese version of the game, there's only one mode. It's just that mode. In the American version, there was a normal mode and a difficult mode, and the difficult mode was the Japanese version.
Okay. Very well.
Fact checking will ruin this podcast. So.
No, it won't. It'll make it better. But no, it's just absolutely insane. Having to go through the Japanese version of the Legend of Dragoon, like there's portions, like for example, when you're in the Black Castle at the end of Disc 1, there's supposed to be a shopkeep there that's supposed to give you potions and angel prayers, and you can buy them at any time. Does not exist in the Japanese version. You have to go grind out the soldiers, and there's a 20% chance of them dropping that healing potion. The fight with fucking what's his name? Goddamn Dole. I can beat that fight at level 14 comfortably. I lose at level 16. I finished that fucking area at level 18. So the difficulty is just cranked all the way up. What is those? Those tacos? Give me some tacos.
Fucking taco cat over here.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck. This is the second time I had tacos today.
No, but besides that, I'm kind of taking a break from trying to grind it out. My plan was to have the game completed by the end of this weekend. That was not happening the last 2 days. I've just been chilling, downloading my games onto my Polymega, which I have a love-hate relationship with, because there are times where this machine is absolutely amazing, and then there are other times where I literally want to bash my fucking hammer against this goddamn thing.
Is it because I don't read discs or something?
Not necessarily. Like, so there is an issue with some games. Like, I've got a small pile over here. I guess
this is give story of a girl.
I guess you need to give a quick rundown on what the Polymega is for people that might not remember from when we talked about it before.
Sure. Oh, yeah. So the Polymega is a disk-based emulation machine. That is its primary function. When you get the base model, it plays everything from the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, which is like the biggest boon out of this. The fact that you have an external emulating system that plays Sega Saturn. That was the selling point for me. It can play Sega CD, Neo Geo CD, PC Engine CD, so it can do all 5 of those things.
The controller looks like a Sega CD controller. Or Sega Saturn controller.
That is a module that is coming out for the N64. So this is also going to be the first, depending on the timing, the first N64 emulation console. And the way that they do that,
Ori controller.
Yes, and the way that they do that is by these fucking things over here. So this is the TurboGrafx one.
Baby.
The module, they're fucking huge. So
that's
the way that
would you say that's like original Xbox dimensions right there?
No,
maybe no?
The box maybe, not the actual contents inside.
Yeah, he's holding
the Polymega. Polymega is relatively small, right? But these are the modules that it comes with, and each one pretty much has the same design, just with the console centric modifications to it. So you have the controller ports in the front. You're always going to be able to use whatever controller ports came with the original console. You have
That's a
the
big deal.
cartridge slot in the front or on top, depending on, what console that it is that you're using. And the way that it works is that there is a button on the side of the Polymega, and the front panel will slide off, and then you can slide in another panel for the respective console. What's super great about the Polymega is that it's very similar to the Retro Freak, where you can save the game onto the hard drive of the console.
Even the disc ones?
Even the discs ones. In fact, what I'm currently doing right now is I've got a stack of PlayStation games in front of me, and then one by one, I've just been feeding a disc in there, let it download, and then swap it out. And as I was saying, I have run into some issues. So these are the games so far that I haven't been able to get in. I don't know if it's there. What PlayMaji promises is that it will play 90% of all the disc-based games out there. And I've run into problems with like Echo Knights, Power Slave, Resident Evil Survivor, Alundra, and Final Fantasy Origins. And that can be like one of two things. Either the game disc needs to be buffed out, which I'm planning on bringing it out to my buffer tomorrow, or it's just not compatible.
I want to say congrats, you're the second person in my life to mention the game Echo Knight.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good fucking game.
Thank you. But no, it's I don't know if it's one or the other. And honestly, out of the 4 or 5 games it's not working, I've been able to put up 61 games saved to the console already. It takes forever. Don't get me wrong.
How much space is that?
So on the console itself, it only has 8 gigs. I have a 250 gigabyte micro SD card, and also a 512 flash drive that I can plug in. So between the two of them, I have almost a terabyte of space that I can just put on there. And I'm just noticing I didn't need the 512.
I was going to say, like, these are old games. Like, some of us can remember that Nesticle, that thing was not even a megabyte or something crazy. Maybe not that small, but I just remember people showing me that, and like, that's the NES library, but it's on a
right. But for NES, that's one thing. When you're talking about Saturn games or PlayStation games, the average size of a PlayStation game is roughly a half gig, give or take. Most of them, I would say, is a little bit more. I would say about 600 to 700 megabytes. I've only run into like 1 or 2 games where it's 200 megabytes or less. And one of them is RPG Maker for the PlayStation, and that's not even a game. But still, I'm almost halfway through my PlayStation library, and I've only killed 25 gigs, so I didn't even need this fucking flash drive that cost me $90.
It's good to hear. You have a pretty, like, what generation does the Polymega top out at?
There is talks that they're going to incorporate or make an update to have Sega Dreamcast. So technically that would be, Gen 6? 6th gen? That's technically, because Dreamcast is technically part of PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox Series. There are no plans for 5 is Nintendo 64. I may be wrong on the Mega Man 2 shit. I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong on this.
I don't know shit when it comes to generations. So.
It's fine.
That's a weird thing. Yeah, that's a weird.
Because isn't the first one supposed to be like the Atari?
The Dreamcast was almost like the Dreamcast was the first of that gen, but it had most of like N64 and PS1 games also on it, so it's a weird.
Yeah, it's almost like it's kind of similar to the Switch, where people say it's like, oh, Switch is like 8.5 when it comes to gen because it came out right in the middle of development cycle for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. But no, the Polymega is expected to have an update for Dreamcast, but outside of that, everything from PlayStation, Sega Saturn on backwards up until Gen 3. So Gen 3 to 5 is where it sits at. So you have the NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, fucking TurboGrafx, and it's also compatible with adapters. So I can get my Famicom adapter, start putting Famicom games on there. And I don't know, but I want to say that if you get a power, what's the
power-based converter, I don't think works with it. I know that it plays 32x games, if that's what you're leaning towards. I'm not sure.
Not 32x. I'd have to confirm it because I'm in their Discord now and they've been doing some crazy ass shit with it in the modding and whatnot. Yeah, but
they have a universal wireless controller for this system, which is pretty nice.
Okay, so that's one of my complaints about this because I have one and it comes with the base model. The buttons on this bitch are fucking sticky. Like it's not great. It's not a great controller. So if you're trying to do anything that's like high speed, low drag, like fighting games, or even like where you have to get the button mashes right on the Legend of Dragoon, this will probably fail you unless you get really used to it. I'm not very happy with this. The D-pad is not very responsive. Like it feels like it works, but it's very, very sticky. You can't do fast motions with it.
The deluxe bundle's on sale right now for $700.
I mean, I would say that's like its regular MSRP. Pocket, thank you for the raid, bro.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate that.
I have a hard time like really saying super positive things about the whole experience because even with its UI, the Polymega it's almost there. That's the best way that I can put it. It's almost there. There's like a few hiccups when it comes to switching out modules. You probably have to restart your machine when you do that. There's been times where I go from disc 1 of the Legend of Dragoon to disc 2 and it just does not fucking read it at all.
That's not good.
No, so it's a labor of love, but for what it is, since it's the only thing that's out there, and for the most part, it runs really, really well. I would say if this is something that's really up your alley, definitely check it out. The silver lining when it comes to like the controllers is that you could plug just about anything into it. So I'm using a 360 controller.
That's a big deal, though.
Yeah, and I'm able to put in like my fight stick in there. I can put in my my PlayStation 5 controller. Like it reads pretty much any modern controller out there. So all in all, like it's mostly a positive. I would say like the only other negatives I keep on running into is not necessarily the customer service, but just like the turnaround time for these things to get out there. For clarification, I ordered this back in 2020.
Yeah,
it's been almost 2 years since the day that I've ordered it, that I've gotten the Polymega and the 2 modules. I'm still waiting on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis modules. So who knows when those come out because there's no timeline.
Retro Freaks are available now. So
yeah, and that's the thing that I was saying before the stream, right? So like the Retro Freak can do everything that the Polymega can for cartridges. And you could get that now. So I kind of wish that I can get the Retro Freak, have that be my cartridge based thing, and then just have gotten the Polymega strictly for disc based.
I'm looking at this
gameplay.
now, and like each of these modules are about $79, and the Retro Freak plays Famicom, Super Famicom. That's $80. It plays, Famicom and Nintendo, and then it also plays Super Famicom and Super Nintendo. That's another $80, and then it plays Mega Drive games and it plays TurboGrafx game or PC Engine games. So it's cheaper to go Retro Freak right there already.
Well,
yeah, but no. You need the base model.
Oh, right. So never mind. It's not even like you could just buy these individually.
Yeah, no. So again, when I was showing this, it's only the front panel. There's slots. There's slots that this hooks up to. So you're going in, like when I got this, I went in for $299 for the base model because I had the early bird special.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then each module was an additional $50. So
50. Okay.
Yeah, for the time. Now it's more expensive.
The Retro Freak plays GBA and Game Boy Color and Game Boy games too.
And this does not. So that's the other issue. Now I can get around that by I just recently got the adapter for PC so that I can play my Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games on my computer, and I'm able to capture it through there. But in addition to that, like the what do you call it? I've also got a Retron 5. Retron 5 is not the best, but at least with the Retron 5, I can play my repro cards because I've got a few repros of like some stupid, silly like ROM hacks. And I can't do that with the Polymega. Now, the flip side to that is that the Polymega, you could put patches on there. So you can get translation patches, or you can do the patches for these crazy mod updates. Like if you wanted to play Metroid for the NES, but you wanted to play Metroid Rogue Dawn, which is an entire redo of the game, you can go ahead and you can do that. It's just, it sucks that I'm not able to plug it in there and then let the game run.
Right. I'm trying to see if the Retro Freak is even still available.
Still waiting for my Polymega. I don't know when it'll get here, but I did the bundle when they had a crazy fuck you Walmart discount as well. So it was
crazy
really...
fuck you Walmart discount.
Yeah, no, that was
all the Walmart discount. It was $50 off because Walmart fucked over their shipment, and they were like one of their, if not their major provider or distributor. Wow. I mean,
yep,
yeah. So I hit that up. I got all the modules coming to me minus the N64 one, but I mean, it's got it. I can say I'm gonna be able to save my Saturn library on there. Like that's a big deal for me. And Pal and I keep joking that like next convention where we both have our Polymegas, I'm just gonna wheel on in and be like, "Here's my Panzer Dragoon Saga," and he's gonna be like, "Here's my Burning Rangers. Let's download and swap."
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
no,
when I
the
went
next
to
time I
Chris's,
see
that's
y'all,
what I did with the Retro Freak. I scanned in. I took a full night to scan in all of his cartridge-based libraries.
Homie was up until like 2:00 in the morning, and
right before my flight.
The next day,
it
was pretty ridiculous.
It looks like the Retro Freak is around like, 400 now.
I'm seeing on Amazon for $520.
I'm looking on PlayAsia. So
okay, that's probably the better thing to do.
And you got to be careful too that you're getting the one that plays all of the, because there's one that's just like Super Famicom and Super Nintendo, and that one's a little bit cheaper. But there's also a Game Gear adapter for this as well. So get your Game Gear games in there.
Yeah, and the Game Gear adapter is universal for the for like the Retro Freak or the Retron 5. So like I still have the ability to play my portables, I guess you could say, if I wanted to. It's just I really want Polymega to one, get their shit together so that they can start building more modules and get the shit out to the customers faster. And B, I just want one centralized unit where I can do everything. Because there's a lot of plans that they had for the Polymega when it was like the thought process was initialized. They wanted to have a shop and start working with publishers to get their old school games onto their shop. I just find that next to impossible to believe it's going to work out, especially when you're talking about the big three, Nintendo, Microsoft, and not necessarily Microsoft, but Nintendo and Sony having their games on the same platform together is going to be next to, it will never fucking happen. Will never fucking happen. So you got to lean in on like the third party publishers that still own the rights to their shit. As opposed to what's first party and what's, first party owned. So
you got one on eBay for $335 right now. So that's not too bad.
Polymega?
No, Retro Freak.
Okay.
And it comes with the controller adapter where it's like a controller hub where, because it's usually the controller that it comes with is a USB, like it's like a universal. It really looks like what the Wii controller was. The Wii Pro controller, not the Wii U Pro controller.
Pro or whatever. Thing that
it looks
not made for adult hands. Yeah,
it looks like that, but it's USB, and then this thing connects into the USB to where you can use your OG controllers. So
that is a big deal with the Polymega for myself personally, that you can use the OG controllers, because it's like I have like 9 Saturn controllers, and I have like I don't need to buy more USB controllers for games I already have controllers for and stuff. But the big thing for me, I mean, when they had that fuck you Walmart deal and they dropped the price of the bundle again to essentially a big ol' apology for everything, I hit that up and it was significantly less than the deluxe version is now. And after a discussion with Rachel of like, look, this is a portion of my tax return, but this is like future proofing my collection because I won't have to worry about the consoles go before the games. That's just everything.
Or disc rot
And so
eventually.
yeah, so it's like, but the thing is too, one, it's a hub. It can be a central hub ideally, and two, save the things on there, and then I have friends that have games. I've given up. For anyone that knows our histories as collectors and stuff, I've just given up collecting Saturn. That basically 2 years ago. So it's nice to have friends that have stuff, and I'll be like, I will finally be able to play this game with a Saturn controller because I'm weird and want that experience, I guess.
There you go. I mean,
So
if
it
you
works
have the
for
game,
me.
so
It's good for Chris. Corey could probably take advantage of this console. This is not for everyone, but it is a good standard that we need.
my
in
cartridge
retro
library is
collecting.
much larger than my disc library that the Polymega would be able to play. So
Yeah, I'm on the inverse of that. I've got a
Same.
relatively large PlayStation library and Japanese Saturn library, so
Yeah,
I played
all those.
Super Famicom games behind me all the time on this jank CRT. That's what I'm looking for. I want one of those nice ass CRTs. What I want.
I
good
almost
luck.
bought a Japanese
down
copy
here.
of Bomberman Second Attack today, but
Should've done
I didn't
it.
want to give this store.
Cats
a
walking
visit.
with
Coward.
lights. Cats looks like there's a gremlin behind me.
Guys, it happened since last week. I now review stores as soon as I walk out of them. It's happening now.
Yeah, I saw you. You actually, I looked at the review and I was like, oh, he did it. So
yeah, I did that one, and then we went to a store today that I was just not happy with. So
did you review that pizza place?
No, that's not even worth it. Actually, I did forever ago because I called Super Bowl Sunday and they answered the phone and then told me they weren't taking orders after I started to give them my order. I was like, are you what?
You wasted
Why?
my breath.
Karen. I went full Karen on them.
They weren't ready
Terrible.
for Super Bowl, so yeah, Chris it tells everyone buy the Polymega. So
Or not.
I second that.
If it works.
Keep an
out
eye
for
on
you.
it, if anything. Keep tabs on them.
Yeah, definitely do that.
the N64 is very because this thing thing outputs HDMI, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is 1080. I think there might be 4K support.
And
Don't quote me
N64
on
has
that.
been notorious with it being tough to either A, emulate, or B, successfully output HDMI without.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that one thing where you can send it into the one company that will like put the hub in there and like,
yeah.
But it's tough. It's like trying to get a 3DS capture card like installed.
Mhm.
It's really hard. So what are you pointing at?
I'm behind on the stream, but you just had the retro gun come up, and
Yeah.
fuck, when that comes out,
You want to know how much that
not
retro
cheap,
gun is?
It's $100 sir.
Yeah, alone by itself.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know if I have a game that can like outside of like Duck Hunt. I'm not spending $100.
Time Crisis,
House of the Dead,
Die Hard,
Corpse Killer. Yeah, Die Hard.
Those games are on the Dreamcast. Is there? Are they also on
maybe
Saturn?
You have a component TV. I mean a tube TV. I do not have one of those. So like Virtua Cop.
He's in the future.
Yeah.
But in the past all the time. So
right. Yes, we are.
No, it's specifically you. So
correct. Yes, have some.
Oh God. All right, cool. Well,
video games.
And then Japanese Legend of Dragoon is I haven't started it, and thanks to Chris, Chris got me. He's like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I was like, "I want this Japanese PS2." He's like, "I bought it." So
yeah, I'm jealous of that. That'll be a thing I buy when I'm over there for sure.
It's the white, man. That white PS2 console is fucking beautiful, especially like having because I have the white one, and then I have my black chunky one that has the Street Fighter Udon logo on it, or the decal that I put on it. So it looks really nice on the shelf, but I need to bust it out. We tested it and it works because Chris was like, "Hey, as soon as you get it, you need to test it because we haven't tested it yet." So
it didn't come to my house. It went directly to you.
Yeah. So, but no. All right, Scotty, what's going on in your life hole?
I got some pickups, but not much else in that hole. So let's do those first.
That's another title. Not much left. Not much in that hole.
So
not much in that crank boy hole.
Yeah, figure out the title, please. So Rachel went to a horror convention yesterday. They had a Fright Night panel, but she was walking around the booths and stuff and grabbed me some stuff. Got a copy of Fangoria magazine with the
Those are
Splatterhouse
awesome.
game reviewed on it. It has a fun little timeline in there
which
too.
one?
And
which Splatterhouse game?
the last one,
The newer one? Okay.
ill-fated one, yeah. Good game, just so repetitive and such a victim of development hell. And
there you go.
they actually had a timeline or like a brief history of horror gaming, and you will not believe what game they mentioned in there besides our Game Club Game of the Week month thing.
Are you
That's
talking about
right,
that? Go ahead.
Illbleed. They talked about Illbleed in
Where?
this.
I don't see it.
That's what that big old screenshot is.
Oh, yeah. What? Okay. Wow.
It says there, Illbleed emphasized tension in its funhouse nightmare while also providing nasty payoffs. But it mentions that it's not scary. It's
well,
just like
out of every magazine in the world, Illbleed fits in Fangoria. So
yeah, 1000%. But yeah, she grabbed me that, and then some clueless dude was selling all of the Wildstorm second run of Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
5 of them for $15. People are trying to sell individually these things for way more than 15. So that was a nice little, cool little thing.
More crap to clutter everything, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, if they didn't have, they all have backing boards. So if
nice, yeah.
So,
yeah, there's a couple comics I bought because they were just in good condition.
Yeah, she also shot me a picture of the comic book adaptation of the first Turtles movie. I was like, no, just never look for Turtles comics for me because I don't even want to be tempted to go into that world because it's too much.
There's very nice hard books on Amazon that you can buy of those.
Oh yeah, I have one of those. I do have one of those.
I've thought about delving into them because I bought the hard books of Hellsing and I've been buying the hard covers of Berserk. Rip on that one. So
you were the one.
The problem is the first they're fucking huge. Like the first the Turtles volumes are like, no, I mean the size. It's like you're reading a vinyl essentially. It's too big.
Okay.
You can't. It's going to be at your coffee table or whatever. It's not going to be, in bed before.
Yeah, you're just like, you got to let me pull out this phone book and try to sleep.
Yeah. So like yeah. But yeah, and then I shared this I shared that in the Discord as well, but I also got the Mega Man Legends vinyl, which
that thing looks I got it pulled up on screen here too. That thing.
Okay, good. I don't have to try to
it looks the cover, it looks very like the characters look like they're made out of clay, and the way it was done, it looks like they're literally popping off. Like look at that. That looks like, oh god, it's him again. He's in the box.
It's God.
Oh god. I'm not kidding. I'm not going to spoil Mega Man Legends, but you need to play that game. Data's got some shit going on. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's very cool. I forgot what color the vinyl itself is, so I was sort of disappointed because it's just clear.
The one I'm showing is the blue splattered one.
Yeah, well, that one went real quick.
Okay. They still have the cassette tape.
I'm okay. They do have Jeremy Parrish of Limited Run Games and Retronauts wrote this big ol' on the liner inside. Just I haven't even read it yet, but it's like a fucking novel.
Jesus, yeah.
So, but
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it's really I really like the artwork, especially that Mega Man is. I don't know if you can zoom in on what you're showing people, but he's got his headphones on and he's toe tapping.
Oh yeah, he is. There it is. Oh god, that's about as close as I can get for people.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got the Servbot behind me. In the very middle of the vinyl is a couple of them dying.
Man, Servbots are so much cooler than the minions.
Yeah, let's get that trending, people, please.
People are gonna be like, "What's this? It's copying Minions," and I'm like, "You fucking."
I hate you. Servbot movie.
Yeah, Chris, what did you go get?
No, you brought up the hardcover, and it brought me back to when Connor was over for MagFest. You said that you collected the hardcover Berserk, right?
Yeah, it's been really hard to get them because I mean I'm also being that guy waiting for them to go on sale. But
do you have issue 9?
No, I do not have issue 9.
Well, this is waiting for you when you show up.
Oh man, I got Bongos, I got Berserk, I got a bunch of stuff waiting on me. I'm at the drive to too many games.
Probably.
Yep.
Probably.
Bring that U-Haul.
Oh God, no! I got a big ass SUV now, so
this is like I want a model of this. I just want this scene in real life. Fucking
you can make that out of Play-Doh.
Yeah, probably.
Like buy some Play-Doh, and then you're good to go.
So very cool.
We know Rachel can do it. She's made that awesome Sonic thing from that Sonic video.
Yeah. Next up, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, speaking of Rachel, really cool. She and I, the other thing that I have on the docket here is we went over and helped out my buddy Lee, with his speed punk band do some gang vocals in the studio today. And
what are gang vocals? Is it background vocals?
Sort of.
I shared their Bandcamp in the YouTube, and I'll somehow do that in the Twitch if someone else can do that, maybe. Yeah, they're just speed punk. I mean, not just speed punk, but they're fun, and everybody should check them out. Danvers is the name of the band, and we did some gang vocals today, so it was cool to be in the studio again. And I need to be in the more.
Didn't pop up in the.
Oh, maybe it banned shit. I don't know.
Maybe pop it in the Discord, and I can put it where it needs to.
Got it done. Right there you go. Yeah. I mean, they've got a song called Prime Told Me There'd Be Days Like This.
Oh, my God.
And also, those alien bastards are going to pay for shooting up my ride. So what's not to love?
Jesus. This is right up fucking... Scotty's like, can I be in your band? Like,
yeah. Yeah, no, Lee is good people. He basically guerrilla marketed the Megavision's booth when Rachel and I were running it at a local show. And he has physically attended the marathon as many years as he's could when it was not the same weekend as PAX, basically. So you'll probably meet him up at PAX East, actually, Chris. He's been to like almost every one of those. But yeah, he's one of my few nerd friends that's also into pop punk. So
I could buy their vinyl for $7. So
I just bought their vinyl for $7.
Nice. You're welcome, Lee.
$1 goes to Scotty.
Right. No, yeah, it was cool. Got to get back in the studio again, though. But it was fun to be in that and just do that for a little bit. So.
I was gonna say it's probably teasing you a little bit. You're just like, I want to be here.
Yeah,
more. Like,
yeah, it's a thing.
Cool.
So that's really I mean, just more overtime in my dumb job. So haven't really played anything at all. I did restart. I'll just mention it because it was tacked on to something I thought about doing, or I mentioned sort of. I did buy that $5 add-on bullshit for Resident Evil 3, so I have like the infinite rocket launcher and crap, and so I'm just going through the R3 make again with that.
You're just like, today sucked. I need to blow up everything and not have to worry about anything. So.
Well, I saw there's a trophy for get through it in under 5 saves, so I kind of wanted to try to do that, assuming the infinite weapons don't affect your trophies or whatever. So, yeah.
I don't have I have a story that I'm going to talk about on the docket, but I wanted to bring up, I forgot, I did play, a couple video games this week. For Megavision stream, I played, I was going through the Wii U library, and I was like, because I originally put like 100 things on my Wii U library. And then I started going through them, and I was like, I don't need another, like Super Metroid, I don't need it on here. Like
it's on Switch, dude.
Yeah, it's on anything that was on Switch got taken off. Anything that I could easily have on the Retro Freak got taken off. But a lot of stuff like the TurboGrafx games, I do not easily have access to those. And I decided, I was like, hey, I haven't played a shmup in a long time. And Kusanagi was like, you should start with Salamander, which is Life Force in the US. And so I started playing. I never touched it before, and I'm looking at it. I did not know that the TurboGrafx was a shmup haven, is what it was.
Yeah, and JRPGs.
I started playing it, and the music's fantastic, and the game is great. I didn't know until about an hour in. I beat the third level. I got to the final boss of the third level. There's only 6 levels in the game. But and then so I'm about an hour in, and TJ goes, well, you did start with one of the hardest shmups on the system. And I went, wait, what? I was like, well, I felt a lot better about myself because I was avidly getting to the third level, and I'm just like, all right, we got this. And if I would have stuck with it, like, I'm pretty sure I could have beat, and I'm gonna go back to it because I've this is gonna go into my story, but I want to beat hard games like that on stream because I'm just like, I remember that as a kid, just even beating hard games, I was like, this is great. Like, it feels good. Like, I recently beat Castlevania. I've beaten Castlevania 1 before, multiple times, especially on my DS when I had it on that, on my 3DS. But it took me an hour and a half to beat Dracula, just because Castlevania is kind of bullshit. So, and I don't want to, and this is just me, I don't want to use save states. I don't want to use the rewind stuff. I get it. Some people do want to do that. That's just not me. But the moment that I beat Dracula, I beat him at midnight on the dot. And when I beat him, it's just that, look, I've drank a lot in my life. I've done drugs before in my life. That feeling of beating something after putting so much fucking time into it and wanting to give up over and over and over again, and just to be like, I did it. That's the best fucking feeling in the world. That is one of the best feelings in the world. Oh, by the way, before I get away from the shmups, I also played Lords of Thunder. That game's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The metal music is amazing. I remember seeing it at Too Many Games when I went in 2019, and I didn't really get to hear the music because there was so much stuff going on in that arcade room. But when I was playing it, I was like, oh my God, this sounds great.
So I'm a big proponent for the TurboGrafx because it is insane what it was coming out with in comparison to
everything else.
Its contemporaries. So it's like,
I knew nothing
the
about the
TurboGrafx, I think, came out in like 1988 or 1989. So it was definitely the first 16-bit console that got released. But it was like an arcade haven before what Sega Genesis was doing.
There's a lot of good stuff on the Wii U too that are TurboGrafx games. Like, apparently there's Air Zonk, which everyone is telling me to play.
Bro, Air Zonk is super fucking good.
I feel like it'd be right up my alley. So
yeah, it's silly, stupid fun. And then like even beyond like shmups, you've got shit like Ninja Spirit, which is being reviewed for the next issue of the Megavisions magazine.
I know nothing about that. So
no, it's a great fucking game. Super fucking good. It's
nice.
The reason why I appreciate it is because it's very straightforward in what it does and what it tries to be. It's two simple fucking buttons.
Yeah.
No fluff. Get right to the point. But it is like that old school difficulty, and it is chef's kiss.
The music in Lords of Thunder, like someone was like waiting to, they're like, because I was started the stream, I was like, hey, we're gonna start with Salamander, but I was going through my wish list, so they're like, fucking buy Lords of Thunder, and I was like, all right, I did it, and because it was like $6 or $7, and when I booted it up, they're like, you're gonna love the music, and this metal music starts, and I was just like, okay, and I was just, and what's great too is the game was just like, go. There's really no explanation. It's just like, you can pick between these 4 armor sets. You can pick between all of these levels. Have fun. And I just happened to get lucky and found out, oh, the earth armor is amazing on this level. So I was able to beat that level really easily. But then I went into another level with the water armor, and I got fucking murked. So
there's just a lot of really high quality games on the TurboGrafx, even beyond the stuff that I've mentioned. Utopia is a decent Zelda clone.
Are the TurboGrafx games? Are they the like not discs, but they are the little?
They're the hue cards. They're the
cartridges.
Cards.
Okay. So, well, the reason
it's a shame, but the TurboGrafx Mini is well, in terms of like, aside from aside from some of the things that are on the SNES Mini, I think the TurboGrafx Mini legit has the biggest collection of overpriced games now, because of all the shmups on there and stuff. So unfortunately, the minis have gotten higher in price. But if you can track one down close to its MSRP, that's a fucking good deal. With
I have a Wii U, so I'm buying this shit now. So
I remember the Wii. The first Wii was what introduced me and my roommate to a bunch of TurboGrafx stuff. Like Dungeon Explorer is like a worse Gauntlet, but still a lot of fun. I think that's something I would say we could play together with Eddie. It might be a fairly good time.
We could definitely look into it. Well,
it's a 5-player dungeon crawler. Figure that out.
Oh Jesus.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, the reason that I brought it up is I was on Twitter the other day, and this isn't like a new controversy or anything, but GameSpot had published this tweet that said Help me out, Chris. Miyazaki.
Hideki?
Yeah,
Hideki Miyazaki?
Right. Yeah, Miyazaki, he was given reasoning behind Elden Ring's difficulty, and he's basically said, like, I do apologize toward anyone that feels like the game is just too hard, but I just want players to I want as many players as possible to experience the joy that comes that you get from overcoming hardship. And you're just like, so I'm not going to get into details, but the last couple years have been pretty rough just in general on like outside stuff of like, family members passing away, COVID and all that stuff. But overcoming that, and that's probably one of the reasons that I get so much joy out of beating these hard. That's why I love the Dark Souls series. Like, the games are hard. I'm not that I don't want someone to not be able to play a game because it's too hard. But I also believe that if a game is a little too easy, you're not going to really appreciate the time and effort you put into it unless you really like the story. That's a different thing. But I feel like Chris kind of like is kind of on my level with that, because I mean, the reason I say this is because we both like Dark Souls games. So, but just being like, how many times have you fought a boss in Dark Souls? Multiple times, then you finally got him, and you're like, yeah, fuck you. Or you one-shotted a boss on the first shot, and you're like, how did I do that? Like,
yeah, both of those things. It's weird, and I understand both sides of the argument. Just after years of having this conversation over and over and over and over again. And I think that with the release of Elden Ring, I've been playing a lot. Not a whole lot of Elden Ring. I've been taking my time with it, and I've really been enjoying it. I'm not going to go into story.
Right, but I was going to say, it's a fucking huge game. That's all I'll say.
It's massive. It's absolutely fucking massive. But I think that it's not my favorite Dark Souls or my favorite Soulsborne, so to say.
I do like Bloodborne, so.
In fact, I think it's a little bit more on the easier side. But with that said, Elden Ring is a good example of, maybe not to say like accessibility, but like the where quality of life changes influence like the gameplay, where it's just like for someone who is first getting started into like Demon Souls or Dark Souls, or even to a certain extent Dark Souls 3, there's a lot of nuances.
That was the most accessible one for people coming into the franchise, I feel.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is by far the easiest game in the entire trilogy. And then you have like the really difficult ones, which is like Sekiro and Bloodborne. I personally think that Sekiro is the most difficult of all of them. And that can go both ways for Bloodborne or Sekiro, but that's not the point. The point that I'm making is that Elden Ring is like the culmination of like trying to maintain the spirit of Dark Souls, that hardship difficulty type shit, but also just evolving beyond the archaic staples that was holding most players back. The fact that you have a jump button is amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah, like the jump button is, you don't think about it when you play a lot of Dark Souls, because the jump button used to be like you had to have a running start.
It was a leap.
Then hit L3 and it was a leap, right?
Yeah.
Now you have like a no shit jump button. You have a mount that you can just run around. Your stamina no longer goes down when you're running out in the overworld, unless you are surrounded by enemies. Then that's when it matters. There's fast travel in the game.
What?
Yeah, there's fast travel.
Well,
you can now fast travel from grace to grace.
In the beginning, I would call that's bullshit, but then I saw how big the game is. I was like, there better be fast travel.
Yeah. No. But it's like, I don't have. When I say fast travel, I don't mean like in the Dark Souls sense where you had to go to a bonfire. You don't have to go to the bonfire anymore. You open up the map and you fast travel to where it is that you want to go. Just boop, you're there. It's super fucking good. And the thing is that they're still able to show off a lot of the skill and the storytelling and in the side quests and just the world building. The world building in this game is absolutely fucking insane. There are enemy designs, like core enemy designs, that blow anything out of any of the other games out of the water. And whether that's like the influences of George R.R. Martin or not, Elden Ring is just,
or Berserk,
absolutely fucking fantastic. Yeah, or Berserk.
I mean, Guts' sword is like in it. I mean, the Guts' sword is in every game though.
Roughly, it's very, very similar. But getting back to the topic of difficulty, it is easier than the other games in the right places where it needs to be.
Gotcha.
You know, it's no longer it's still going to punish you. You're still going through the areas where you're going through the castle and you got those big ass fucking knights, and it is, hey bitch, good luck. You know, learn the fucking matchup. That's the best way that I can put it. Learn the fucking matchup.
Well,
you're still going up against bosses that are hard as fucking shit. That element has not changed or gone away. But I'm saying this now, I'm going to have a hard time going to the older games, especially when I decide to go back to Dark Souls 2 or fucking Bloodborne, because there are quality of life changes made to this game.
It's the same with Monster Hunter. Like, the Monster Hunter Rise has so many quality of life changes that if you go back and try to play, I don't know, try Ultimate, which was on the Wii U, you're gonna have a bad time. Like, it's just very rough, and that's what it worries me. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone to be barred by accessibility to be unable to play any game. That's not fair. But I'm also worried that with a lot of these rewind functions, like just Scotty and I were playing Contra Hardcore. Like, yeah, that game you could be like, just rewind, let's redo that. Rewind, let's do that. Do those games lose some of their notoriety once you introduce these rewind and save state functions?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think so. I think that for the time that those games came out, it made sense why the game was built the way that it was. You had limitations of the hardware. You had the spirit of the arcade with those games. Nowadays,
that would last a long time. So
nowadays, like you jump on this game and you got to think about who your customer is. How many of these kids that are playing this game for the first time are actually going to sit down and be like, okay, I've got to bang my head against the wall against this one boss, and if I lose all my progress halfway through, I have to start from the fucking beginning because I ran out of continues. That is not how the younger generation playing these games have been brought up. They're used to, I died, I go back to a save point.
Yeah.
No holds bar. Like, I just
very
automatically
disheartening for them when they get into a situation where maybe you and I and Scotty, we grew up on those games.
So I think that
time to review bomb because I can't restart where I want.
And I think that times have changed in this situation where it's like, I think that's a warranted level of criticism, because for us, you could just sit there and be like, oh, you're just being a bunch of bitches. Get good. That's the thing that you always hear within the
always comes up
in the Dark Souls community.
The argument.
Yeah. But like with these older games, you got the newer generation where it's just like, I just want to experience the game. Not everyone's going to be a hard ass. And think about like this: how many of those people who actually went back and bought Contra Hardcore back in the day, how many of them do you actually think finished it outside of the hardcore gamers?
Not many.
Not a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
It's not a new sentiment. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not a new sentiment. So like in the modern era, having that option is great, because the one who controls the rewind button is you.
That is true.
So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I wanted to say what my thoughts were exactly in my tweet, so I'll just read them. I said one of the reasons. So I retweeted the GameSpot tweet, and I said one of the reasons I still play retro games without save states or rewind features: the moment you overcome a difficult part of the game due to the sheer determination, or in my case, stubbornness, because that's what it boils down to sometimes, is one of the best feelings in the world. And I followed up with, this isn't a statement calling out other players that like these features or enjoy playing on lower difficulties. I linked the video of me playing and beating Dracula, and I was just like, this, like, I'm just telling people what my experience and what my feeling was, and that is a feeling that basically at the end of the day, it lets me be able to forget about all the bullshit that happens in my life. And this is the sole thing I'm focused on right now. Like, boom, I have to beat Dracula, because if I didn't, then what the fuck was I doing for the last 3 hours? Like, that's what it comes down to. And when I beat it, I was just like, yes, stream end. Like, because it was late. I mean, Ravensquill was there the whole time. She's like, you got it this time. And then the next time she's like, oh man, I thought you had it. And I was just like, it felt like, again, like, if you grew up with a sibling. Like I did not really. My brother wasn't born until I was 12 years old, but I had a cousin that I would hang out with, and it was very much time like you got it, like you got to try this. It's just maybe it just brought me back to a much more simpler time in my life, and younger generations. And I'm not gonna say every younger generation. There are some people that go through different hardships than others, but a majority, I don't know if they're gonna feel this way like I did. Maybe they get that feeling from getting Final Battle Royale in Fortnite. I don't know. That's not me. So
Chicken Dinner. Oh wait, that's the other one.
I guess is that player
That's
unknown
PUBG.
player Battleground, whatever it is now.
PUBG.
I'm old sounding right now, man.
Yeah, you are.
They're still playing the games on the fucking whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm just saying is, whatever. It's okay to play game. It's okay to want to play games on amazingly hard difficulties, and it's okay to want to play games however the fuck you want to play them. Like however you get that feeling, do it in a video game. If you get it from story, so there you go.
Yeah, I fucking, two things come to mind with this. One of them is when I played Catherine for the first time, and I was so interested in the story, but I just could not wrap my head around some of the puzzles. And this is I'm not saying I'm a puzzle genius, but I like puzzle games because somehow that's relaxing to me. But yeah, I mean that's like 12% a puzzle game, but it got to the point at playing Catherine, I was like, I want to see where the story goes, and it's like week of its release. When it came out, there was not full playthroughs yet and stuff. So, but I found a guide that was just a video online of like I would pause my game, play video. He moved the cube there. Okay, pause video, unpause my game, move cube there. Because I just wanted to get through the last couple of levels because I wanted to see what the story was doing, and I could not. I was getting so stressed with not being able to figure this stuff out, but I wanted to see where it went. So that was, there's that thing. But then like the best example of like what's it called, quality of life, as of late was the re-release of Phantasy Star 1 on the Switch. They added so much good stuff to that. And I watched, it's not a new video, but I watched one of Happy Console Gamer's videos. That is his favorite game. And like he played the shit out of it as a kid. And then, he's a married man with a child now. And his wife was away one weekend. And he's like, what am I going to do? So he loaded that up. And because of like the speed up that it has, it's got a map in the thing. It like gives you descriptions of items. He was able to play through his favorite game in like a little less than a weekend's time and have just as much fun as when he had no life as a child and would play that game over like a span of a couple weeks or something. So, there's different ways to experience things but that game is not, it can be a challenging game, but because it had those altering things that could make it a little more, you could sink your teeth in a little more friendlier.
The thing is, we can live in a world where both of those exist. So it's okay.
I think that's something a lot of people need to realize, that they have a hard time realizing it.
So there you go. Play video games if they make you feel good. So that's basically what I did.
Right.
So
if you want other shmups to play, Corey, unfortunately, a lot of them are going to be fucking expensive. So you'll find ways to play them.
You took Giga Wing off of my fucking list last week. So
whoops.
Because I think we played that for the marathon last year, didn't we?
We played Mars Matrix, and
that's what it was.
That game kind of sucks because it is the
most
user. No, it sucks in the form of like it is the most user unfriendly shmup because you have to grind and you barely see anything new for a while in it.
Gotcha. We didn't play it that long, so
no, yeah. Whereas like another one, like I lucked out with my shmup introduction, which was Galactic Attack, and that's a game that actually changes itself depending on how good you're doing. But, I could recommend shmups and stuff.
Well, we were talking about shmups, and I was like, well, I guess like my first arcade game that I remember playing and loving was Galaga. Like Galaga, not Galaxian. Galaxian was a different game. But Galaga was just like my jam. Anytime, I mean, even when we go to too many games, like if I see a Galaga machine, I'm gonna go walk over there and check it out. Like I'm just like, can I still get the extra band? Like, let's see. Oh, I got it. Oh, I fucked up. So there you go. So it's just, I don't know. I like shmups.
I will say before I forget it, because I rarely get a time to mention this game, but if you want a bullet hell as opposed to a shmup that's a good like entry level thing. Death Smiles is pretty good. I am almost.
You think that's entry level?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I mean, I used to play Toho games, so
I own Death Smiles.
Yeah. You got that faceplate?
I do have the faceplate. It's on my Xbox.
For those fucking dumb things, I think it's behind me here. Look at this dumb thing.
Of course, Scotty has a faceplate.
No, it's behind a lot of stuff. I'll get it another time.
Oh no, I actually put it on my Xbox. I always forget what it's from.
Because you can't pry that fucking thing off. You guys remember faceplates? Cool.
You'd pop the fucking pins, and then it ain't sitting on there no more.
And hope that you don't break the drive in the process.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we can go on a quick break. I got to take a pee, and then we got a couple news articles we're going to talk about, and then we're going to announce. Make sure to stick around. We're going to announce the next game we're going to play on the Scrub Club Video Game Club. I don't know how we fucking named it.
Video Game Scrub Club.
Video Game Scrub Club. There it is.
Let's go.
All right. Stick around. Enjoy the tunes. We'll be back in a bit. Oh, there it is. Death
You
Smiles.
had to go back and get that.
I had to
the limited edition version of Death Smiles.
Pull things off the shelf so that I wouldn't knock things off the shelf. Don't you want to fly around as preteen girls, Corey?
I like shmups with ships.
So... One of them is 17, I think.
That makes
You'll be fine.
Okay? Question mark?
Yeah. That's
anyway,
everybody.
This is not the news article.
Shit.
Oh, he dropped it.
No, there's no one that's 17.
All right. So the first little bit of news that we have is the Wii U and Nintendo and all that stuff have been pretty hot topic the last couple podcasts we've been talking about. Wii U, Nintendo. But the Video Game History Foundation has commented on Nintendo's quote-unquote destructive retro policies. So the Video Game History Foundation, who do all kinds of amazing work preserving old video games and hardware, are understandably not happy, particularly in the fact Nintendo, quote, actively funds lobbying that prevents even libraries from being able to provide legal access to these games. Basically, they're tired of Nintendo. Like, people want to play these games, or even the older games. Like, give us access to it. They won't give us access to it. They won't let us buy it. Okay, we're going to emulate it. Oh, they're going to get in trouble because they're emulating it? Then what the fuck do you want us to do? Like, it's basically what it boils down to. And here is the exact the tweet. Well, it was a tweet, but they came out with a statement on February 17th. This is a little ways back, but it says, quote, while it is unfortunate that people won't be able to purchase digital 3DS or Wii U games anymore, we understand the business reality that went into the decision. What we don't understand is what path Nintendo expects its fans to take, should they wish to play these games in the future. As a paying member of the Entertainment Software Association, Nintendo actively funds lobbying that prevents even libraries from being able to provide legal access to these games. Not providing commercial access is understandable, but preventing institutional work to preserve these titles on top of that is actively destructive to video game history. We encourage ESA members like Nintendo to rethink their position on this issue and work with existing institutions to find a solution. Basically, they're kind of not barking up this tree, but they got the same sentiment that we do. Like, we're just trying to preserve video game history because there's so many titles. Yeah, you got your Super Nintendo, you got your Super Metroids, and you got all this other stuff that are gonna, no problem, they're gonna make it to the future consoles. But what about all these indie games? And I mean, and not necessarily saying that all these games are good. It doesn't mean that they have to be good. They should be preserved, that they existed at one. It's erasing history is basically what it's doing when it comes down to it. And it's sad, is what it really does. And next time I'm in Dallas, I got to go to the Video Game History Museum because that place is fucking awesome. So
this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the Polymega. They're one of the selling points to the Polymega is that they wanted to create a storefront so that publishers can put out their older content onto the platform.
Yep.
And I just have a really hard time taking that sentiment seriously because you have ESA members like Nintendo and PlayStation, which one, they have their own storefront. And on one hand, you can kind of like lightly give a golf clap to Sony because they're, I guess you could say, like their retro classics, or the PS classics line that they have, notably with the PlayStation 1, is very, very robust.
Mm-hmm.
If you have like a PlayStation Vita, you could still access the PSP games and the PlayStation 1 games on that console. PlayStation 2, they really didn't go too heavy into it. The library is very limited considering how many games were actually released for the PlayStation 2. But the inverse, the PlayStation 1, I want to say that 70% of their library is out on PSN, still available. So long as you have, a lot of those games
were on the PS3 one too. Like,
well, it's the same thing. It carries over. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it's just like, you know, they have this library where if you have the hardware, you're able to access them. Nintendo, on the other hand, is actively working against the consumer in being able to get these games, which is a far cry from when the Wii came out. Because when the Wii was coming out, they were putting out regular titles, not just like their own first party games, but like third party games that
some
like
shit
no
we never
one's
even
ever
heard
really
of. Yeah,
like.
Right.
And when the Wii U came out, only a small number of those were re-released for the Wii U. And the perks of buying it on the Wii U was that you can do save states. You couldn't do like a rewind, but you had like you can remap your controller. Whereas on the Wii version, it was like get fucked, play the original version or die.
Yeah.
But just over time, when you went from the Wii to the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch, now the Nintendo Switch is just like here's 30 games. It's all the same shit that's on the fucking virtual mini thing. Yeah. Buy our fucking online pass.
My only understanding to this that I could think that Nintendo is doing, because let's be honest, how many times have we fucking bought Super Mario 3? Like, more times than we probably should have. Like, is Nintendo just trying to do this so like later down the road they can just ensure that people will either A, forget that this shit happened, they're gonna be like, oh, they brought all these games out, let's buy them again. But it's just like, I'm worried about the games that aren't gonna make the cut though. Like, we see it now with all the people lobbying for games to come on. Like, that was the first question that someone said. All right, all these games that were accessible on the Wii U, are you going to bring them to the Nintendo Switch online thing at any time soon? They're like, we have no future plans for that. And you're just like, what? Like, what the fuck, man? And then... Go ahead.
It was just like, why should I trade in my shit? Now I have to hold on to my old hardware.
Yeah,
to ensure that
I mean, granted, we're different. We keep all of our shit, but I understand.
Yeah, but I mean,
consumer.
Like, even for the normal consumer, because when they hear people where it's just like, oh yeah, that came out on the Wii and the Wii U, and it's just like, oh well, can I get that? And I'm like, no, because the store's shut down. There's no way for you to access that shit
ever. Too late.
Ever.
Too bad. Get fucked. Like,
so the thing is just like you have the rights to make all these games show up on your next platform, whatever. What does it cost you to put it on there? You know, and now everything is moving towards subscription services, and that's why you offer these older style games as a subscription service. What does it cost you to put that game that is like the size of half a kilobyte onto your fucking platform? You know what I mean?
I mean, the entire Super Nintendo library can be on a thumb drive. So
yeah, it's. Mm-hmm. I know what I said was a little bit hyperbolic, but I mean, come on, dude. It's the same fucking shit.
It's not like you're making HD remasters of all these fucking games. You're literally just taking the game, throwing a rewind feature or something else on it, and then boom, there you go. It's not hard to... Granted, I say it's not hard to do, but I don't know how to code or do any video game shit. So, I don't know, man. It's just... It's dumb. Like, I was looking it up, too. I was like, hey, I kind of want to get... Because, surprise, I have a 3DS that is homebrewed. I did it myself. I wanted to, but I think the problem is the homebrew version has to stay on a certain version, which means I cannot access the online. So I was like, cool, that's fine. I understood the risks when I did this. So I was like, I kind of want a 2DS XL. Yeah, right. Those things are like fucking, people are selling those things for $300. And you're just like, what the fuck, man? Like, Walmart was selling them. Like, Nintendo not too long ago was selling the refurbished ones for $100 on their website. Like, and from what I heard is performance-wise, since it took out all that 3D shit, the system works a little bit better than the 3DS XL.
Yeah, the 2DS is actually like a really solid piece of hardware. Like the flip version.
Yeah. But now I'm fucked. Unless I want to pay exorbitant prices from third-party members.
It's kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Really is. I'm really tired of it with Nintendo in particular.
I can't even say that it's just Nintendo, because it's a combination of just everything that's going on with the secondhand market right now, and it's never going to go back to the way that it was. Get that shit out of your fucking mind, because now you have these people where you have something that is quote unquote valuable, and they treat it like an investment, and it's always going to be $300. There has to be like a reckoning within the second-hand market in order for that shit to come down.
It's gonna have to be a huge fucking bubble that pops or something.
You can't expect Nintendo to fucking not be to be there. Yeah, sure. But it's just like, I don't understand the thought process behind. It's just like just release the games. You have them in your vaults. You have nothing
people will buy them.
You could release them at full price digitally, and people would get them.
Yes, It would.
It's I don't know.
It's
And
just
yeah,
sad.
I do. I mean, since we're talking so much shit, I'll give quick props to Sony because I didn't realize it until I had my PSP. Like, oh, I can just play Resident Evil 2 on my breaks, on my lunch now for the
Yeah.
fuck of it. They didn't have to put the classics on the PS1 classics on the store, and then
I could play
that
Legend of
ended up, and then the
Dragoon on my
PSP
Vita.
basically turned into that machine. So
Mhm.
yeah, Vita's great too. Yeah, it's weird. It's
I
don't
know
know.
it sounds cliche, and we talk shit, and we also love the Vita, but I genuinely love my fucking Vita. Like, it's a really good system. Like, I really
Yeah.
like it. It's really sad what happened to it.
It's such a weird, like, this isn't the exact same thing, but like, I have the Duke Nukem Megaton edition that was released on the Vita, and then Gearbox delisted that on everything because they released that 30th or whateverth
Yeah.
anniversary of Duke Nukem. But
Nuke
but
Nukem.
I will always because I bought that on the Vita when it was out. You can't get it anymore on any digital storefront. I just love having Duke Nukem handheld, so that
Well, it was
I
the
don't know.
same thing with
That's something that
PT.
is sort of oh Jesus, yeah. Here we
Like,
go.
that's the whole reason that Scotty, you wouldn't update, or what was it? Well, you wouldn't update or do something to your PS4 because you
Yeah,
were going to lose PT.
until
Mhm.
my hard drive died. Yeah,
That's
so
unfortunate.
I just
yeah. I
saw.
mean, I experienced it though, but this is like as plain of an example is like if a book publisher was like, "We're not putting out our best-selling book anymore. In fact, we're burning all of our copies, and if you buy one, we will arrest you." It's like almost
It's
like that.
it is insane. So, like, I mean, I talked about it. I think Scotty, you and I talked about it. I was just like, I mean, it's time to become. I'm gonna wear a fucking peg leg because I'm gonna play the
Yeah,
games I want to fucking play. And if you're not gonna let me fucking buy them, get fucked. I'm gonna
Mhm.
do
yeah.
what I want to do to get the games. You're not gonna keep that shit from me. That's not cool. And maybe that's just my nature. Like, that's just my nature in general. Some people might be content, be like, well, I'm not allowed to have it, so I guess it's not good. No, fuck that shit. I don't know where to go from
What's
here. So
weird, I remember this reminds me of I'm not sure 100% how accurate this is, but House of the Dead Overkill on the Wii at the time was the most pirated game because people didn't want to buy a Wii game. They just pirated the shit out of it. And
Mhm.
and I remember Sega coming out and saying like that's why we didn't put a sequel out because nobody actually bought it. The sales were not
Everyone
great.
loves it, but
Everyone yeah. But they, for some reason, didn't wanna buy a Wii game. I don't know. It was some weird thing, but I just remember hearing about that at the time.
that's weird too,
So,
because the Wii was like one of the most, like, there was, out of all the systems back then, like, the Wii was in more households than anybody, I would want to say, because like the
yeah,
Wii
it's a
printed
strange
money.
thing. Yeah.
So
So I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I think it's really good, and it's really good, and it's a huge telling of the time that like an organization is setting aside the professionalism of Twitter, if that's even a phrase,
Yeah,
and just fucking
Mhm.
calling
an
out one of the
oxymoron.
biggest is calling out one of the biggest companies in video games
Yeah, because at the
to
end of the
say
day,
like
that's what the
you are
video game history.
actively yeah,
Go ahead.
you are actively hurting history now. Like what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's
So
sad. It's really really sad, and the problem is too. Like, we say this and we talk shit on, but we're still gonna buy. Like, Nintendo's gonna come out, Kirby's coming out. We're gonna
Kirby's
fucking
out.
buy it.
I forgot.
Yeah. So,
Kirby came out and I forgot and I was
well,
excited
I
for
think
it.
I think it's just the demo's out right now, right?
The demo is
I
out. The game is not out until next
Oh,
week.
okay.
Yeah, it's
All
like
right.
another week. So, dude, that
Roger
that
that.
that fucking tweet that Dan Reichard put out
I
of
showed
when.
it to Rachel. Yeah.
So, for people that don't
Perfect.
know, go check out Dan Reichard's fucking uh Twitter. And right when he
Yeah.
gets the Kirby, like Kirby engulfs the car and he's driving around, someone redeemed a Daytona theme song on
It's
his.
Oh,
So, like,
that
the
was
minute he busts through the
perfect.
wall, it goes Daytona, like, and he goes, "Oh, this is great."
It's so good. Yeah, just check it out. Man. Yeah, this sincerely bums me. I mean, I don't know. I'm as discouraged. We've talked about that. I don't even know how. I'm tired of wasting my breath on
It's
this
a kind of a
discussion.
broken
Nothing
record,
against
yeah.
us choosing this or whatever, but I'm so happy that an actual legit organization is
A
coming out
respected
about this.
organization.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, because these are the same people that got you thinking, like, oh shit, yeah, how do we document World of Warcraft? Like, what's gonna happen when
Yeah,
people stop? So
playing
like,
that.
They're doing it's I don't know. I mean, this is just a sign of the times overall that like, oh, we need to keep track of video games for history. You know, you mean a bunch of virgins in their mom's basement aren't the only ones playing these things?
No, you need to keep I mean,
No.
I'm a firm believer that history needs to be preserved in all aspects. Like we need to know what happened previously so that we can either A, learn from it and improve upon it, or B, not repeat it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not going to get super political on it, but I remember growing up, there were parts in history class where they're like, oh, we're not going to cover the war. I think we're like some war. And I was like, that's bullshit. That's the only reason I'm in the fucking class. Like, if we're not going to cover that, then I'm sleeping again. Like, I had history class, first class of the day. Fuck that shit. She said, I remember my history teacher goes, yeah, so I was like, next week we're going to talk about World War II, right? And she goes, no, we're going to skip right after that, and we're going to talk about this. And I was like, all right, don't expect me to pay attention. Like, because I'm not going to. Like, it's goofy, but no, I don't want to say it because we do represent an entity, but I don't want to say the words I want to say. But find the way to play these games and fucking play them. That's all I'm going to say. I can't advocate the other thing. You know what I want to say. So
I've got a lot of ineligible cartridges. I'll say that.
Chris knows too.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
I was going through my Retro Freak the other day, and I was like, so when you're going through it, if the game is recognized, it puts it all alphabetically. And then I got to the U's of like Game Boy Color, and it was just like unknown game, because it doesn't recognize the what are they? The ROM hacks right off the bat. Oh. So it's just like unknown game. I was like, oh yeah, this is Pokemon cock. This is Pokemon like
great.
All that stuff. So
fantastic.
All right. So yeah,
anyway,
like I said,
write to your local Nintendo congressman and let them know how you feel.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. They're just in the broom closet. It's just a skeleton in the back of a broom closet, like at a small desk. All right. So the next article that we got is a feature article that the writer Sam from over at Megavisions called Game Developer Acquisitions, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And Chris is going to give us a rundown on this one.
I'm going to give a very detailed rundown of this because apparently no one prepared.
Shut up!
It's fine. It's fine. Just last week, Nintendo announced that they would acquire longtime development partner SRD. While this news alone is certainly huge, it arguably pales in comparison to the other major gaming acquisitions this year. From Sony buying Bungie to Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, we're seeing a large game publishers grow to almost Disney-like sizes at unprecedented rates. Ultimately, this poses a much deeper question on the future of the gaming industry as a whole. How will all the major gaming acquisitions change the entire landscape of the video game industry? Or will we see fresh ideas get brought to established franchises? Or will the video game market stagnate with less competition and more IP exclusivity? So the good is that acquisitions make certain games possible for the first time. One positive outcome that could emerge from the quote-unquote fallout is the potential to see new games that would have never been possible otherwise. You may have noticed a pun in the previous sentence alluding to my primary example, Fallout New Vegas 2. With the RPG Fallout New Vegas released in 2010, it quickly became a fan favorite. Unfortunately, while developer Obsidian expressed doing a sequel since 2013, they could never work out another deal with Fallout's publisher Bethesda. However, Microsoft's 2018 acquisition of Obsidian, followed by its 2021 purchase of Bethesda, makes New Vegas 2 more likely to happen than ever. In fact, VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb even recently stated that Microsoft and Obsidian are both discussing a potential sequel. Another good sign to come from it was all the recent game developer acquisitions is the promised commitment to keep the titles cross-platform. One example comes from Microsoft's earth-shattering purchase of Activision Blizzard. Topping the list of many fans' concerns was the question if Microsoft would make the franchises like Call of Duty Xbox exclusive. Surprisingly, however, Microsoft President and Vice Chairman Brad Smith states otherwise. To quote, "To be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard titles available through PlayStation through the terms of any existing agreement with Activision." In addition, Sony's long-term goals with Bungie was to also include cross-platform play. Although Sony is widely known for its PlayStation exclusive titles, the company made it very clear that they have no intention to strip away Destiny 2's cross-platform compatibility. Instead, Sony looks to utilize Bungie's expertise in live service games to develop new titles across multiple gaming platforms.
All right, we'll give you a break. We'll give you a break.
Thank you.
So video game acquisitions can be good. There are good things that come from it, but I want to go back to the first, and this is probably going to be covered in the bad as well, but in that opening paragraph that you said that video game companies and publishers are growing to almost Disney-like sizes, I do feel that, and it makes me, it really it worries me, because it really feels like, it reminds me of like an indie movie maker. Like they make an indie movie, and the movie is a hit. Like the people love it. And then their next movie, they're directing a Marvel movie. And you're just like, what? It's kind of like when Sony bought, what was it? The Insomniac that did Spider-Man?
Yes.
And you're like, okay, they bought them, and they still do Spider-Man and stuff like that. But I guess a better analogy that I want to say is when Activision Blizzard bought off like Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions. And then we found out, oh, they're just working on Call of Duty now. You're like, that is disheartening.
Really shitty.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, you're at the end of the day, it's kind of like it's snuffing out that creative spark that made that company special, and those developers, like those individuals, special. And you're just like, go work on this, Call of Duty Shoot 'em Man. Like, and you're just like, what? No, fuck that. Like, we don't want like Call of Duty and these cool games, like they can all live in the same world, but don't make this a fucking like cookie cutter. Like, I'm surprised this is the first year without Call of Duty, right?
Like, yeah, I think so. I don't think there's a main.
I think they announced that it would be in like 2023 that the next one would be coming out, and I'm like, thank fucking God. Like, has anyone not thought about just taking a breath of fresh air? But no, money. I answered my own question. So, but I don't know, Chris. I'll let you run down through the bad, I guess, real quick.
The bad. So the fear is that creativity in the gaming industry could further stagnate. One major concern regarding all the major game developer acquisitions is whether the industry could stagnate. As large publishers become even bigger corporate powerhouses in the games industry, it is very possible innovation and creativity will suffer. With only a few large companies dominating the video game industry, we risk seeing an oligarchy that drives prices high and quality down. One notable example is New York-based Take-Two Interactive. The giant gaming conglomerate runs industry-leading studios, including 2K, Rockstar's, and Private Division. Now, after a $12.7 billion deal in January, the company adds mobile game developer Zynga to its empire.
Zynga.
The result is that Take-Two now gains a significant advantage in the mobile gaming market. And since mobile games like Zynga owned Farmville and notorious for microtransactions, Take-Two will certainly capitalize. In fact, the rise of microtransactions in the gaming and the live service model overall is already something that the company takes full advantage of. The most obvious example is Grand Theft Auto 5. The use of microtransactions via shark cards in GTA Online kept the last entry in the series alive for much longer than any of Rockstar's other games. In fact, over 8 years since GTA 5 first came out, Rockstar finally announced that they're finally working on a new entry. Another sign of Take-Two's complacency comes in the form of game quality over some of their recent releases. For example, the ranges from the mediocre to downright unplayable WWE 2K games to the abysmal GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition.
So it's kind of like what I was talking about right before we read that. It was just like, we're worried about the creativity going away. And at the end of the day, man, I mean, we like games. Like, yes, there's sometimes we're like, oh, I just want another Dark Souls game. So we got Elden Ring, but it's not just another Dark Souls game. There's a lot of other stuff with it. But then like for like Scotty, like, and we want like, you're going to play. Oh, you want to make another. You're not. Yeah. Goose Game or
Goose Game.
Night Trap 2 will never happen again. Or like we will like nothing of that caliber will happen. If these companies keep buying, Ill Bleed 2 keeps buying up all these companies and not letting them. I will give it to Sony. They did let Insomniac be like, hey, you're still going to do your thing. You're just under us officially now. So that's why we got the next Spider-Man game and all that stuff. But it's
bankroll.
It's just and it just reminds me of like monopolies. And I'm just like, when I first learned about monopolies, not the game, because that game's garbage, but monopolies in general, and like how they were regulated, and why monopolies are kind of discouraged, and like other companies keep other companies in check by not letting them have monopolies. But like, and I'm not saying there are companies nowadays that have full-fledged monopolies, but it looks like if things keep going, it could, like, and I don't think that's a good thing at all. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. So.
No, I concur. I agree with it. There's Anyway, the ugly is that new parent companies can make established franchise consoles exclusive.
Yeah.
Arguably, the worst case scenario for all major acquisitions is that if the parent company breaks their promises. Circling back to Microsoft's new purchase of Activision Blizzard, many people remain skeptical on whether the company can stay faithful to remaining cross-platform. Although Microsoft indeed kept Minecraft cross-platform after it acquired Mojang, the company's track record is far from spotless. When Microsoft purchased Bethesda last year, they promised to continue publishing their IPs across multiple platforms. However, the company has since walked back on that statement. Microsoft announced that both Elder Scrolls 6 and all future Fallout games will be Xbox exclusive. Although Smith once again reaffirmed fears that Activision Blizzard will now remain let me run that back. Although Smith once again reaffirmed fears that Activision Blizzard titles will also now be Xbox exclusives, part of his wording hints otherwise. In his statements, Smith specifies that the games will continue to release on PlayStation through the terms of their agreement. In other words, once Activision's current contract expires, there's no guarantee that Microsoft won't make their games console exclusives too.
Yeah,
the main.
You don't have to read all of it. Like we already hit the main part thing, so we're good.
Cool.
Now.
Thank you.
Yeah, am I the only one that's tired of the console wars? I'm so fucking sick and tired of all of it. I don't care.
Yes. You're the only one that hates racism, Corey. Good job.
I'm the best person ever. God damn it, Scotty. But it's just, I'm so tired of it. I'm tired of the fan. I'm going to say people. I don't want to gender anybody. But I'm so tired of the fan people that are just like, yep, wouldn't happen if it was on Sony. Or, yep, wouldn't happen if it was on Xbox. And I'm just like, you are a word I can't say on this podcast. So, like, you are so stuck. Like, I want to meet you in person and just, like, observe you for a day. And I'd be like, yeah, you're exactly what I thought you were. So it's just, I want everyone to be able to play whatever the fucking game they want to play. You don't have to, but at the end of the day, I'm going to answer my own question again. Money is what it comes down to, is got to have those exclusives. How are you going to sell the new console if you don't have that exclusive? So I'm so tired of it. And it starts back with Sega versus Nintendo, or it was really Nintendo versus everybody back then, because Nintendo, even like now, was kind of a piece of shit back then. So.
But that created competition and actually helped Nintendo fucking give a shit and try different things.
Yeah.
And
it created a healthy environment, like a healthy economic environment.
There could be healthy competition. So it's
I'm also just worried too about all these subscription services. I went through recently and went through a lot of my subscription services and canceled a bunch of shit. Because I realized, I'm like, subscription services, the rollover subscription shit is one of the biggest fucking scams I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Because, yeah, it's easy. Oh, you can sign up in auto pay and all this other stuff. But how many times, and I want you guys to think about this too, and people listening too, how many times have you had a subscription service take out of your bank and you're like, ah, shit, I probably should have canceled that because I haven't watched, or I haven't played, or I haven't read anything. I did nothing in the last month to justify that subscription being active. And it's just, I fear, it boils down to, it boils down to the digital versus the physical stuff too. Like that's why this whole having the streaming service is great. But I want to live in a world where both of those still can coexist peacefully. But I don't I think it's not going to happen that way. Because, I mean, let's look at physical. It's being phased out. The other companies are bringing it back. Luckily, limited run games, I am 8-bit,
limited,
like strictly limited, like all that stuff. Thank God for them. But it's just like, who was I talking to recently? I forgot. And they're just like, yeah, I don't care. I just want everything digitally. I don't want any of that, like all that other stuff. And I'm just like, why? Like one day it's going to be gone. Like you're not going to have access to it all the time. But they're just like, I don't care. I have access to it now. I'm just like, oh, but I think maybe we're just a different breed of gamer, I guess.
Yeah.
So why did that make you chuckle?
Like, I don't know. It's just
you like let me on my soapbox sometimes.
Sometimes the wild shit comes out of you. I don't know. I don't know how to put it.
This is the cranky Corey corner.
The cranky corny Corey. So
cranky Corey corner.
The triple C. Now it's just I'm tired of it. I'm just
yeah.
It's just a broken record that we're doing at this point, right? Like
it is.
We are.
But sometimes we got to remind people where we stand. So
yeah, on top of all these fucks.
Yeah, but going back to the article, the partnerships and the acquisitions can be a good thing. Like you do get some cool stuff that comes out of it, but
like Sega doesn't interrupt Atlas; they just fucking let them do what they did. But they could have fucking shuttered, you know?
Yeah, there could be like you're working on Sonic everything now, like
yeah. Per Sonic 5.
Thank God for developers like Yacht Club and Sabotage Games and all these other indie game developers that are, because like I'll be honest with you, granted I do keep tabs on AAA games and stuff like that, but I get super excited for indie games. Like I don't like AAA games are just kind of like, unless it's like Kirby or like Elden Ring or something specific to what I like, I don't really give a shit about the other stuff. Like, I don't give a shit about a fucking Call of Duty. I don't give a shit about a Fortnite. Like, if you are a lover of the Call of Duty franchise, and up until now, like we said, this year you don't have one, but or even the sports games, when you buy all the sports games every year, what is so different that is justifying your cost to play that, other than I have to buy the new one because that's where everybody's going to be playing now?
See, what's interesting is those will probably never go all digital. The sports games, like of any franchises or genre or whatever, because that is, I'm going to say it, that is the casual market. And so if you're going to try to do, unless they throw commercials every 5 minutes on ESPN or something saying get your Madden pass, to make sure you have the latest roster next year and shit, there's always going to be a physical, because there's always going to be clueless grandma walking into GameStop saying Jimmy's got to have the new Madden 32.
I want to say though, we're going to get to a point eventually where that isn't going to really exist anymore. Like, I hate to say it, but that generation of grandma doesn't know how to buy a video game, that generation will die off. Like, and then we're going to be the ones going in there and being like, where's the physical of this? Sir, you have to go online and sign up for the subscription. No. Where can I buy the fucking disc? And it's just like,
I want the government having my email.
Oh my God. I don't know. I could sit here and talk about this shit for hours, but I think it might be best to move on. So
it's fine.
This has been Corey's Cranky Corner.
Look, you fuckers are agreeing with me. So
yeah, we're just letting you go because there's nothing else to say.
It's true. We've had this conversation more than one time.
You pick the articles next week, then.
I will. And it's all going to be stupid.
It was rough this week, all right? I was scrounging
for news. It's all
going
to be dumb. I mean, no, that was a good article. Good job, Sam. But
yeah, good job.
It's all going to be stupid. I'm going to find some like fringe shit
that will have
fringe
to read
video
the article.
Game shit. Yeah. Or maybe not.
All right, let's move on. Fuck that. Get that out of here. Get out of here. I don't want it on the screen anymore. All right. I think I got Corey. Where do you go if you want to ask a question? You should join our fucking Discord. So I feel like I always ask you guys. So
Oh,
It's
okay.
my thing,
I wasn't
motherfucker.
sure if you knew that you were talking to yourself or not. I was afraid you're going to start arguing with yourself. Then we need to be worried.
I'm the one that's supposed to be saying
Dude, if
that.
I ever do that, you don't interrupt me, because that will be gold. Like, it will be. Remember, Scotty's always like, content. Yeah, that's gonna be content. So no, yes, you should join our Discord, and if you do that, okay, we do have a question. It'll sound a little bit like this. Does someone else want to read it? Because I've been talking.
I'll read it.
30
Zombie Hunter.
minutes.
Zombie Hunter. Like I haven't. Zombie Hunter asks, so apparently the reviews have come out for the Steam Deck. Some of the negatives I've seen are the approximately 90-minute battery life and the major bugs when playing certain titles. Since they are making a huge number of people waiting on the unit, do you think that you'd agree with the consensus that the system feels rushed?
No.
You don't think so?
No, not with this one. He states that like all the 90-minute battery life, that if you thought this thing was going to have a longer battery life than that undocked with the performance it's putting out, you're sadly mistaken. Like I'm looking at it from like a juiced up laptop. And it's also
who the fuck is bringing this thing anywhere?
I'm gonna bring it everywhere.
No,
you're gonna use it at home.
Fucking
like
huge.
But
so
go ahead.
I do feel that it's rushed. For different reasons. I think that when it comes to bugs, when it comes to bugs, if you let it marinate for a little bit, it can release with less bugs. The 90-minute battery life, that's a cost-effective move.
Yeah,
you know, there was no getting around that. The battery life is the not the silver lining, but it's just like the problem is so minute compared to all the other things, where it's just like when they were designing this thing, they were just like, how do we make this run?
Something had to suffer. Yeah.
Something had to suffer. Yes. I mean, like, I'm buying a handheld computer for less than $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
You got to cut the corners somewhere. So I understand why the 90-minute battery life is a thing. And it's not with everything. It's with the graphically intensive games. I play a lot of indie shit and I play a lot of fighting games. So I don't really need a whole lot of power to run my shit. I'm not sitting here playing the fucking Witcher, though that is a fantastic game. Or Elden Ring, you know? Mm-hmm. Will that be a factor later on? Probably. But you know what? When I have my shit plugged in, when I do that shit, the appeal of me having the Steam Deck is that I'm able to play my PC games anywhere around my house that I want to, or I could plug that shit into the TV. That's the appeal to it. Mm-hmm.
And your emulators.
If y'all remember to the Vetted Games days, okay, when I bought when I bought fucking like 50 of those Steam, I forget what they're called, but it's like the portable Steam machines.
Yeah.
Steam box, Steam.
If it was called a Steam Deck, I'm gonna be mad. But I don't think it's a Steam Deck. There's like some other shit, but it was essentially like no bigger than like your cell phone, right? It was roughly the size of a cell phone, a little bit flat, maybe a little bit wider, but you were able to access your Steam library through that machine and stream it from your computer. This is just like the next step in that evolution, which I think is dope as shit. So do I think it's rushed? Yeah, if the bugs are as bad as what they say they are, yeah, it's probably rushed. But guess what? If bugs are the issue,
Steam
that can
machine
be patched out.
Steam Link,
thank you.
Oh, this one says Steam machine.
That's wrong. I'm looking at the same thing. That's wrong.
Oh, okay.
All those things,
that's not real.
All those things can be patched out.
They've already stated that they're already starting on the patches. Like,
yeah. So I'm not that worried about it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't
care.
I'm
used to that loud fan.
I'm excited. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to get it and be like, why the fuck did I buy this? Like, so no, it's exciting. I know what I'm going to use it for a majority, and that's going to be like just being like, oh, I could just fucking play a Dreamcast game over in my. I can sit in the living room with my wife, and I can sit there and play a video game while she's watching Chicago Med. So there we go.
So the Switch is right now, yeah. That's the thing, though. It's like it's not rushed because this needed to get out there so that it could be tested, so that it can there's no,
I mean, it's not like a botched release. I don't know if that's what he was wanting us to say. It was that level. It's not that level by any means. Like there's a lot of like, yeah, there's some games that don't work on it that well, but they're still working on them. There's also a shit fucking ton of games that work on it really well. Like, I think it's been confirmed about 1,000 games run pretty well on there. I know Final Fantasy 14 did. So, Kenny, you better fucking buy Brittany one. So, but I don't know. I'm ready to get mine. Hopefully April. I think that's when both of us are supposed to be getting ours. So, there goes my tax return. So, that's really all the questions we had. I had a question earlier that I was like, I'm going to bring it up to them. And I didn't write it down because I'm an idiot. So maybe I'll remember it at a later date. So wait, what the fuck? I'm looking at this Steam machine and it says introductory price $400 to $6,000.
Woo.
Why the fuck was what? I don't know why that range is like that. So it's also Google, so it probably isn't fucking right.
That's probably wrong.
It probably is.
I'd say I'd bet on that being wrong.
But
that could also be some weird placeholder thing.
That is true. So I mean, the first time when I typed in Steam Home Console, the Hyperkin Retron came up. So
that's what you want.
All right, I guess we do the thing where we tell people what we're going to be doing. The first thing is, I guess we can finally announce the Video Game Scrub Club video game for March. And Chris, will let you announce it.
Yep, so this month we're going to be playing Disco Elysium.
We had to go through a cockamamie fucking... No.
I am super ecstatic for this.
I don't know why I picked that so high. Like, I think I was just...
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you fucking picked that one.
I had a lot of homework and midterms to do yesterday, so I was like, shit, I gotta do this by midnight too. So,
well,
I did pick Asura's Wrath as my first pick for my own when I was able to.
I'm upset that actually got hit really low because I was just like, that will be my number 2.
I fucked up the average on that one. You're welcome.
Guys, thanks, Scotty. I picked Untitled Goose Game as my number 1. So
I appreciate that.
So, but no, I'm excited. I mean, I looked at it. I'm probably gonna buy we were looking up prices earlier. Probably just gonna get a physical, just because I want a physical. I don't know how to feel about the game yet. I don't know much about
played it.
Well, I don't even prior to this. The game came out in 2019. Well, the game came out, so I know nothing about it, which is probably the best way I want to go into these games. I was trying to get people to play Michael Jordan in the Windy City, Chaos in the Windy City, to the point where Chris was like, "Chaos in the Windy City," and I thought he was gonna be like Chicago, like.
Yeah.
No, but we'll get around to it eventually. So, we'll probably, let's look at the date real quick. I guess what we need to do is, since it is March, we start today, we announce it, we talk about it on the 27th.
Sure.
I will not be here, so pick another day.
Following week
is April. But I guess
we'll figure it out.
We can talk about it and release the next one on April. So
that's right. That's how we do it.
So, all right, boys. What are you guys doing?
I'm working on my next video. That's all I have to fucking update. That's what I'm working on.
That is true.
And magazine shit.
Chris has to tell me what to do in that video. So
yes.
Fine. I just tag my name onto shit. Chris puts all the work into it. So
such is my life.
What about you, Scotty?
Static Zone Podcast. We watched Chef, and we're going to talk about it soon. By the time this is out, that will be out a couple days later. So that's happening.
I'm excited about it.
Megavisions is still doing stuff. There's a Shenmue podcast over there. There's a magazine coming out eventually, and that's what happens. That's what I do. That's what I'm doing.
I can't announce what we talked about in the meeting last week, but I'm excited about some things I'll be contributing in issue number 3. So that's really all I can say about it right now. But be on the lookout. And all I can say is Chris brought it up in the meeting, and I was not paying attention in that meeting. And when he said that, I put my phone down and I was like, huh. So, but No, I'm excited for that. We're so over on the Megavisions, we're gonna be having some streams. By the time this one comes out, the night Raven's Quill is gonna be playing Alice, one of the Alice games. I'm sorry, I can't remember. We just recently reviewed it, I believe, on the mag website.
American McGee.
Yeah. She'll be playing that. We're gonna be having a Mario Kart night, Mario Kart 8, on Thursday. If you guys want to get in on this, fucking join over on twitch.tv/Megavisions. We're gonna be going live about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hit us up in the Discord. We're trying to get a full lobby. I don't know if any of the new tracks are out yet. I think we still got to wait a little bit on that. But we got 60. So if Chris is joining, we're gonna play all 60. So why I don't like that Chris is smiling and being quiet. So
I'll tell you guys after.
Okay. Other than that, I'm working school, midterms. I'm going to Austin soon for work, so getting that ready. I might try and throw a stream in here or there. We've been playing Majora's Mask on the ScrubVerse Podcast channel. That one's been running really well. I got my copy of Samus Metroid Returns, and I got it onto the PC, and it looks great. I will say on the 3DS though, I turned on the 3D just in the beginning, opening scenes and stuff like that. That game's fucking beautiful in 3D. That game looks really the opening scenes, not the gameplay. Like the opening, like the pictures that are like still pictures, but then when you put them in 3D, they're like all that. So, but no, I'm excited about that. But that's what I'm gonna be doing. So,
and Eddie's still buying pops, probably.
Jesus, I think what he's at wrestling tonight, right?
Yes.
Yep. Who won? Is Undertaker playing tonight?
Like, the Undertaker retired.
I also said playing.
He's the opener.
That would be amazing. We gotta get. Does he do cameos? Can we get him a cameo? So. Can we do an intro?
I'm pretty sure every wrestler does cameos.
We need to look into cameos. We need to get some shit on our pod. We need new buffers. So, all right, we're gonna get the fuck out of here because I'm tired and these two are just watching me fucking ramble. So
yep.
A little bit.
we'll talk to
you guys fine.
Later. Have a good night. Take care. See you.
See you.
Wait.
All right. Stop the recording.
Stop.
And then for everyone that's still with us, we're going to go find someone to go raid. Let me start exporting this. This is episode 128.
128 bits.
Jesus, that's... If we would do it every week, that's over 2 years of podcast.
That is.
Jesus.
I mean, that was actually... Are there 52 weeks in a year?
Yeah, so 104
was our thing.
So we're probably like 2.5 years in.
Maybe no. I think we need 2 more episodes. Hope
we get there.
We're gonna kill each other in 2 weeks.
It might be. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let me look on my list. Everyone's playing Elden Ring. Fuck me.
Let me see.
So there's a guy I started watching today. His name's Fuzziness. He's been playing Donkey Kong Country Returns on this Wii.
Okay. This Wii.
We could do that. I also have Free Play Arcade. They're doing Super Street Fighter Turbo too.
Do that one because he's not at his stream right now. So his chair's empty.
Classic.
That's the channel.
Free Play Arcade. All right. Oh, and we have to make sure to do it not through Restream because otherwise it takes fucking forever to raid somebody. Let me log in. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I just kicked this cat in the head. She sits right underneath me, man, and I don't know she's there. And she doesn't get mad or anything. She just looks up and is like, what the fuck? Like she also doesn't meow. She just squeaks. Like if you walk by, she goes like meh. Like, so I'm like, oh Lord. All right, let's go to our channel. Chanel. It was Free Play Arcade.
Cool.
There we go. All right, everyone. Make sure if you're not in our Discord, join the Discord. Hit !Discord. That's where you're going to be able to reach us and ask us questions, and we're always talking shit to everybody in there. So thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys later.
Peace.